Sometimes, we usually see games often attempt to emulate Hollywood films. This is particularly true when it comes to sequels. For years now, Hollywood has operated under the notion that a sequel must take the first film and simply up the stakes in every way imaginable. Like, for example, more conflict, more explosions, more death, more drama. Everything seems to be exponentially bigger than the original. Ratchet and Clank 2 Going Commando lets gamers know that this game is going to be bigger and better than the previous release right off the bat. The game's title comes up, then explodes into a billion pieces. At least the American version, cause the European version, it's kinda bad. But luckily though, Going Commando is one of those really rare sequels, one that actually lives up to the spirit of the original while improving on its subtle ways. Since Going Commando was released a mere year after the first game in the series, I had some trepidation about the game prior to playing it. Even though the guys at Insomniac were simply reusing the Naughty Dog game engine from the first title, a 1-year hiatus between releases seems incredibly short. My biggest fear was that players would be treated to a title that was little more than a rehash for the first game instead of a new experience. But luckily, I couldn't have been more wrong. Building upon its original themes of expanding the platform genre with shooting and RPG elements, Insomniac Games' first Ratchet and Clank laid down the foundation for growth. Going Commando takes every facet: weapons, gadgets, ships, armor, helmets, clothes, storyline, character growth, you name it, and they just go wild. The storyline is the least interesting of the changes, but it does convey the grow-up state of our heroic duo. Fully realized heroes after the first game, Ratchet and Clank start out as an unemployed at a loss. What's to do when there is no need for heroes? Until Abercrombie Fitzwidget, the CEO of Megacorp Industries, hires the pair to rescue back the company's prize experiment back from a smuggler's clutches. Because, let's be honest, they spend a lot of time playing PS2 games starring themselves. Not surprisingly, they also playing Jak and Daxter. Though it's cute if Insomniac ever wants to end up the comparisons between it and Naughty Dog, it could quit just kind of thing, you know. Told a cutscene starring a familiar set of exaggerated strong-jawed, puppy-less characters and a new female ally, Going Commando pulls a few small punches. It doesn't claim to be dark, dangerous, or too serious like Jak 2, but the narrative is engaging despite its teenage trappings. It's not the story that drives this game, however, and it's just as well. Going Commando takes players on a 20-level militaristic platform journey fueled by the promise of bigger, better at everything. The obvious focus is the arsenal of new weapons, but the game is broader in scope than mere weapons. The weapons are flat out better than the last year game. They're more traditional in form and function, less foofy, less clownish. Let's go for an example. Few weapons resemble the silliness and disappointments of the Glove of Doom. Hence, when you pick up the blaster, you attain a powerful shotgun that upgrades to a booming wide-mouthed weapon. The Lancer? This automatic rifle upgrades to a heavy Lancer, a deadly automatic rifle. The Bouncer is one of my favorites. It blasts out a single shell, and like the Glove of Doom, it breaks up into something else. That's where the comparison stops. The one ball ups up into a 20 or so explosive bouncing bomb, forming a 4th of July wall of explosion sharpnel. There are so many weapons here, like turrets, rockets, a sniper gun, the infamous Rhino, bombs that upgrade to mini nukes, and we also have a sheepinator. What's a sheepinator? Have a look at yourself. If this is not a Spyro reference, I don't know what it is. This new cache of weapons is simply more efficient and deadly than before. Insomniac control its silly urges better this time.
Thank you, sir. You won't be disappointed.
Upgrading weapons is as simple as using them more often. In the menu, players see a small black gauge filling up after each use. When it's upgraded, a smart reward screen shows the new, physically changed weapon, fully loaded. Each weapon can upgrade once, and by collecting platinum bolts, players can modify them with better strafing. providing singular aim on a target while strafing, damage over time such as acid or poison, and area damage that covers a bigger area. With so many weapons and such diversity to weapons, half the fun is simply using them to see the new upgrades. The enhancements of things hardly stops there. Ratchet will find some upgradable wrenches along its path, making him more powerful. He can also increase his own health bar using nanotech with as many as 80 hit points, also well presented. He finds eclectic vendors who sell protective armor. Ratchet can once again upgrade Clank with better jumping tools, and he fits himself with several kinds of boots, including derail, gravity, and boost to name a few, and a slew of new gadgets. Even his ship can be tweaked to look, adding different noses, tails, and they can give him the paint job too. More importantly, they can add new weapons and defense capabilities. The game is designed so that several of the big ticket weapons must be attained after what appears to be heavy scarring, like for example collecting. That very sentence usually implies returning to previous levels, but that's not the case. Level progression features less backtracking, which admittedly got to be tedious, even forced in the first Ratchet and Clank. Instead, earning more bolts is simply a matter of entering into an arena challenge. Like Roman-style gladiator fights, the max the game arena battles pits you against a throne of enemies or huge bosses. Win a battle, earn bolts. The menu screen is smartly designed to let you upgrade from the vendor on hand at the arena, try another kind of challenge, or just quit. The option to return to any level is clearly still there, but it's just no longer mandatory. Completionists will see the clues in each level, whether it's a well-placed vial of nanotech, a surface requiring gravity boost that you haven't earned yet, or the suspiciously empty spot on the map. There's always something. Oh yeah, let's not forget, this game is chock full of things to break. It seems like every shiny object can be broken. It's fun just to wander around seeing what breaks and what doesn't break. Other areas, such as the mid-game desert, which is literally packed with crystals and giant deadly insects, offer exploratory side quests that are in their own way, like the arena levels. Wait, you have crystals? What, now it's Crash Bandicoot all over again? Yeah! But anyway, even the traditional race formula promotes successive tries for more bolts. Once Ratchet earns a special driving helmet, he can drive in several types of races, in a single location for loot, each one increasing in difficulty. The racing is very arcade-like in nature, so it's instantly easy to pilot these crafts, though after the first round, they get a little bit harder. There's also a healthy amount of space shooting levels. Nothing quite as cool as Star Fox or Colony Wars, but there are solely fun levels. At least some of them. Come on, Soniac, you can do better than this. Thankfully, the game is harder than the original. As Ratchet and Clank earn more weapons and upgrades, the enemies in turn carry more powerful weapons, travel and work in packs, and for once they use strategy to defeat you. Some buckle down behind barricades while others leave their little mini territory to chance you down. The brilliance of the level design of these planets is that players are free to use any set of weapons they think they are the best for the situation. But to be sure, many of them in conjunction are needed. So instead of levels learning towards the use of a particular weapon, constantly switching between weapons to find the right one for the perfect gang of enemies is the best strategy for success. For those who love the Clank series, they're back as well. Clank controls little robots plus some new special ones. These new robots use hammers to smash obstacles, or they are used to extend themselves into bridges to close giant gaps over fiery pits. And also, you still have these little ones that are still cute. Fuck you! The new Clank levels seem a little easier than before, but they're still fun. Oh, and by the way, even Clank controls better. Clank was a hazard on those narrow paths in the first game. Now, he's more tightly reached in, so I guess it's not a problem anymore.
Nothing to it. You did great.
Some subtle tweaks to the controls have made going Commando a better handling platformer. Insomniac tidied up Ratchet's loose, skiddy socks. Ratchet moves now a whole lot less like Spyro. Although Ratchet still feels a little loose, controlling him is better, more responsive than his first game. So, hey, no more X and Valdez. The ability to strafe is better too, thanks to the modifiers. In the later levels, you will be jump strafing and blasting enemies in mid-air as a regular part of the combat. It will be a little bit clunky just you seeing jumping around on one side to the other, but trust me that in the later game, this will be a good maneuver.